tell me a little bit about what races you were interested in coming out and voting for today.
The court clerk and the county court clerk.
Okay, and who'd you vote for?
I voted for Caudill
Okay.
and Meek Dodson.
And what about those candidates kind of attracted you to them?
They seem to, they've been in the organization for a long time, and they seem to me know what they do. They are able to represent the community well.
Any other races you're particularly interested in?
Voted for the district court clerk.
Okay. These elections kind of get overshadowed by presidential elections during the year.
Right.
Do you think they're just as important, though?
I do.
Why so?
Just because they're a smaller part of our community, and they represent who we are as a smaller community.
Sure.
As a whole.
So I'm asking people just, what race got them out to vote today?
Well, I'm a lifelong Oklahoma educator, and I have grandchildren that are in our public schools, and we cannot continue on the path that we are currently on for the sake of our young people. So this is the most important thing I have to do today.
Okay. And what race was that you were wanting to help with education?
Well, I'm a registered Republican, and so I had to vote Republican.
Okay. Any particular candidate you were a fan of? I know you voted for Republicans, but I'm just...
I have guarded optimism about the person I placed my vote with.
Okay.
And I think we have a lot of educators and parents that are just sitting back waiting to see what happens this go around.
Sure. I think with presidential elections happening, and everyone kind of focusing on that, they kind of forget about these races like this. They're pretty important, though, don't you think?
Well, they're critical. They're critical, and our state's at a tipping point that we have to do something.
Sure. So, candidates you're interested in coming out for today?
Well, I'm helping narrow down the Democratic selection, so I don't want to say who I'm voting for. So.
How is it, being a Democrat in elections like this, knowing who that this is who you get to pick to go up against later on, I guess?
Honestly, it doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or a Republican. The reality is, I believe in our society we have an obligation to vote and have our voices be heard. So it's good that we're given this opportunity.
And talking with people, these local elections don't kind of get the buzz of a presidential election or a presidential primary or something like that. But how important do you feel these are?
I think every chance we have to have our voices heard beyond social media is a really good opportunity. I take it as often as I can, and luckily my work allows me the opportunity to stop and do it too.
Out here voting today, what races were you interested in?
The congressional district.
Okay.
And Senate.
So who'd you vote for?
I voted for Ryan Martinez.
Okay.
Steve Russell.
Steve Russell. Why those candidates?
I like Ryan. I like his conservative values. He seems to be in touch with the people. And Steve Russell, I like the job he's doing up there. I agree with a lot of his decisions and things like that. He does have some bipartisan things that he works with, that he's agreed with on some of the deals, but he also has conservative values that I enjoy.
Mm-hmm. These kind of elections seem to maybe get passed over when there's a presidential election going on. How important are these to you?
They're very important. I'd vote all of it. I just don't feel that enough people vote. We just don't get represented. And so when that happens, then the policies that are made I don't feel reflect the mood of the individuals or the communities.
Sure.
And these elections here at the community level are the ones that bring the policies to Washington and stuff like that. And we just don't have enough voice up there.
So making your voice heard today.
That's right.
Okay. Just who you out here voting for today and why?
I came out to vote for Steve Russell, and I wanted to be sure that we voted because it appears that so many aren't voting these days, confused, and the younger generation just seems as though they're not voting because they just think it doesn't matter, and it does matter. So we wanted to be sure we voted.
Why are you out here voting today, sir?
I vote every election.
Okay, and some of the issues you find important are?
Obviously the economy and the state budget are huge deals, in my opinion. On a local level, on a national level, it's some of the same things: the economy, the budget, the European Union.
And what candidates do you feel kind of are going to represent your interests the most?
Oh, I'd rather not comment on
Okay,
that.
that's fine. And you were talking to me about some of the state questions. That the issue coming up. What can you share your opinions on that?
Well, the sales tax for the education. My wife's a school teacher. I certainly think teachers deserve a pay raise, but I think the sales tax is a terrible idea. I'd rather pay more property taxes, which is a consistent level of income, whereas sales tax, as we know, goes up and down. That's the reason the state has the problems it has nowadays. And we're just going to create that same problem in education if we go on a sales tax basis to increase the funding for education.
Okay.
Okay, I'm Kelly Roberts. It's really refreshing to be an independent voter and be able to actually vote today. So we can choose from Libertarian or Democrat, and so today I chose Democrat. I also turned in my absentee ballot because I normally vote absentee, so I was really glad to be here in person.
Sure.
So,
What races in particular were you interested in today?
well, I only got one ballot, so
Okay.
it's just the area representative ballot.
Okay.
That's all we can do.
And who'd you vote for?
Al McCaffrey.
Okay. And why Mr. McCaffrey?
Well, I know some people who work really hard on legislation around the state. All of them speak very highly of him, and specifically I've seen a lot of work that he's done in the past, and so I'm impressed with the fact that he actually does his job, actually that he works on laws that aren't going to get struck down by the courts, and the fact that he has a goal and knows where he's going in the future. And so I love people that have a vision, and not a lot of ours do. So
I guess what races were you particularly interested in today, and what candidates?
I'm a Republican, so there was only three elections that I was voting in, and it was David Hooten was who I wanted to make sure and get a vote in for, and also wanted to make sure and get a vote in for Linda Amick Dobson. So.
And what about those candidates appeals to you?
Well, I've got a friend who knows Linda Amick real well, and so that's why I wanted to vote for her. And David Hooten, I was just more than anything voting because he was being supported by Frank Keating.